What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, the podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Anthony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. It is time for the college football podcast. One flew over the Hornets' nest, and we are exactly to the day, Ryan, 3 weeks away from the NFL draft. It's nearly here. It's nearly time for the good stuff. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready.
Yep, I'm I'm just ready for it now. All the speculation, all the visits, the mind games, the smoke and mirrors. I just want it to be done. I want to know what decision we're going in.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all eager to see where the lines are going to go, and eager to see where a lot of the other teams go. There's a lot of prospects that we like going in this draft, and wherever they get drafted, we will wish them well. So tonight, what we are going to be doing, we're going to dive into the college football world first. There are some news, some stories we need to talk about. This head coaching changes, hirings, new contracts, all this sort of stuff. We're going to go through that, and then we're going to move on to the NFL draft. And I figured we'll do a little thing called Draft Busters. So what I've done is I've got a list of the latest rumors up regarding the upcoming draft, and we're going to decide whether we believe some of these rumors or not. And then, of course, if any of you watching have any questions for us, just put them in as we go along. And as always, we will answer them as we go forward. Right, let's just get all the housekeeping stuff out of the way because there is a bit of housekeeping to do today. So. Roar of the Lions UK Discord, if you want in, let us know. We will fire you across the link for that. Main podcast, we did our NFL draft positional review for the offensive line on Monday. If you've not checked that out, then be a good chap or chapess and go and check that one out. We actually got a comment from one of Jackson Slater's family on there saying we did him justice. So I really do hope we draft him now because we've got a fan out of that. So yeah, all good stuff. Don't forget to like and sub to everything, Twitch, YouTube, all that. We really appreciate you and the support you bring to the podcast. Don't forget about Lions Nation Unite as well. Herman Moore's pet project to bring together a whole host of Detroit Lions content creators into one forum to talk anything and anything Detroit Lions. I would usually be on there. I've not been on much recently, but I'm going to start doing videos for them again soon, so you will see me on there. Don't forget, we're a Twitch affiliate, we're YouTube monetized, we've got a tip jar, all that good stuff. So if you want to help us that way, great. But first and foremost, we just love talking ball with you in the comments, and that is all we really need. We've got the feedback form as well, so if you yeah, any comments about the shows or anything, feel free to fill it in. It's all anonymous. Just send it to us and we will take that on board. And we've got the merch store as well. And I bring that up because we got a merch order today. So, you want to rep the Roar of the Lions UK wherever you are, just go find the store. There's some good stuff on there. I'm sure we'll create some new stuff on there for the draft as well because it is much overdue. But yeah, if you want to do that, then great. Other little bits. So, if you've not seen them recently, I've started putting up the NFL draft prospect tape review videos, DPR we've got three up now. So we've got the UNLV wide receiver Ricky White, the Boston College edge Donovan Azuruaku, and the most recent one was the Ole Miss defensive tackle Walter Nolan. That's where we go through the prospect, we watch his tape, show you what he's all about, just to give you a bit more knowledge about the player, and more of those will be forthcoming in the coming weeks. We're going to be knocking those out quite quick. Got some time off work at the minute, so I'm going to be getting all those out there for you. And also, just to let you know, I say 3 weeks, the draft is here, and we will be having our big NFL draft extravaganza this year, as we usually do. We didn't last year because the guys were in Detroit, but we will be live throughout the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and also on the Sunday. We'll have a preview show on the Thursday night, then we'll do our all-nighters on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and we'll have review shows each day as well if you can't watch us during the evening, where we'll condense everything down into one little segment for you. And of course, we'll have a whole wide variety of guests on with us as well. We've got about 16 other teams locked up so far, and a lot of others we are inquiring about. So to give us a perspective on a lot of these other teams and what they're going to do on the draft, and of course to break up the monotony of having to listen to us all weekend in a row. So yeah, that is coming up. Spread the word, try and get some people along. It's good fun. and hopefully we will see you there for that. That is in 3 weeks' time. I think we've got everything just out the way there. Oh, and a nice one for us as well, right? On Twitter the other day we got pinged in something. This one of these online things that rank podcasts and stuff like that, and they did a list of the 80 best podcasts to listen to in regards to the NFL draft, and we ranked 33rd, and we were the highest ranked British podcast on there. So little wave of
We're
the
going
hands for us.
worldwide, like Pitbull.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. We were not far behind some of the big podcasts out there as well. So, we appreciate it. Obviously, the word about us is getting out there. So to all of you guys who support us out there, and that we really appreciate it. Top rated podcast in the UK. Let's do it. Anywho, we move on and we're going to talk some college football news first. Because we've got quite a little bit to go through, and it wouldn't be a college football show without talking about college football conference realignment and new teams, etc. And as the FBS goes up to 136 teams this year, I believe it is. Next year, for now, it's going to be 137 as news dropped yesterday, I believe it was. The Sacramento State Hornets, hence the title of the show, One Flew Over the Hornet's Nest, filed an application to the NCAA to transition from the FCS up to the FBS as an independent team. So, as they are attempting to transition without a conference invite, they require a waiver from the NCAA to make the move happen, and they have applied for one. If the move is approved, then what'll happen is the Hornets will play their final year in the Big Sky down in the FCS in 2025 before making the move up to be an FBS independent in 2026. They will be banned from any postseason football for this year and next year, so 2027 will be their next eligible season for postseason play and bowl eligibility. Provided they found a conference by then as well. There is expected to be a very high demand for their services. So they sit in a top 20 media market, obviously out there on the West Coast. They've been investing significant funds in their playing staff and NIL. Obviously, the new head coach there is Brennan Marion, formerly of UNLV, and listeners of this podcast will know all about him because we've spoken about him and his masterful go-go offense on here hundreds of times. They have the highest rated recruiting class in the FCS this year, and they have the highest rated transfer portal class in the FCS this year. Not a surprise, Ryan, that Sac State were obviously gearing for the move up. Now they are now going to do that. Maybe a little surprised they're coming up as an independent, but I guess conferences are pretty much out there bidding for them at this moment in time. So I guess better to make the move up now, get yourself established, then find your future home, whichever conference it's going to be, rather than wait 2 or 3 years while conferences fight over you and then make the move. But I don't know about you, I'm looking forward to this. Having Brennan Marion head coaching in the FBS, this is a team, a lot of money going into it, could make waves quite early on in their career there. Would you make Sac State on their way to the FBS?
Well, I can't say for sure, but it feels like Brenner Marion will have expedited this. I imagine when he took the job, he probably said, "Look, I want us to go FBS sooner rather than later. So if you're thinking about it or not, I want you to put the money aside now." When I look at them on paper, I'd say they're better prepared than Kennesaw State were, and I thought they came up prematurely. I thought like they were just maybe jumping the gun a little bit. Like I say, we've seen the likes of Delaware, they're going to be an unknown prospect. Like I say, the Blue Hens. So I like it. As you say, they've got good foundations. They're a good market. They've produced some NFL talent in recent years. They've had a few late picks, a few UDFA guys. They've kind of been in the mix for in and around making a playoff spot, getting into those non-bids, like say the committee bids in recent years. So strike while the iron's hot. I'm all for it. And independent kind of makes sense. You can come up a year, kind of like cherry pick a schedule. Like I said, the teams that really want you, some of them will pay you to come play them at their place and then get a nice few home games in. But I imagine within a year, year two max, they've probably found a home. They'll consider all the options. But yeah, I think it's a good fit for them. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do this year. It feels like this is the year. Kind of need that like one big last hurrah. I want to see them make a deep run potentially. Like say make a last four, last eight of the FCS playoffs this year, if it's what they consider to be their final year anyway.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there with them. So like you say, a lot of talent come out of there. Jackson Slater, he's pushing himself into day two conversation this year. The right guard out of there. So this is going to be a team that people are going to really like really quickly. So keep an eye on them. Last year in the FCS, they got a hell of a recruiting class coming in. We're going to see them do well soon. So yeah, the Sac State Hornets are on their way. Shout out to people in the chat. Carlton Wood is in the building. He goes, "Hi guys, lovely evening in the UK." Hey, it's a lovely fortnight. It is non-stop sunshine day in, day out at the minute, and I am absolutely loving it. You can go outside and do what I was out watching the basketball last night. It was very good fun. Mike Barker is in the building. He goes, "Hey now, hope you are doing well, Mike." And of course, Brent DeWitt is in the building as well. He goes, "Howdy everyone." And he mentioned one of the things we were going to talk about. Hell, let's drop it in quick. Coastal Carolina offering free concessions now in order to gain more attendance. Love to see that at Ford Field. I was kind of saving that for the light-hearted puff piece at the end type thing, but yeah, Coastal Cal, right? So they have this big deal with their food supply. They supply the entire university, so all the catering for the students, everything. They've got a massive contract with them, whereas most football teams have their own catering to the uni and stuff like that, and they make the money off it. You know, the football team do not get the proceeds of the concessions, I believe, and they don't have to show the accounts of how much they sell either. So, you know, it's more of the uni taking on the burden of this. But Coastal Cal, I do believe it is 4 items from the concession stand per person for free. Your popcorn, your hot dogs, your drinks, etc. I mean, you know, it's gonna be good time to be a Coastal fan, even if you're not winning. Well, you're winning in your pocket, not on the field. It doesn't matter, but you know, good gesture from them.
Yeah, I'd say it's a big burden for the university to take on financially. It's gonna hurt them in the pockets, but if they've got to be struggling. It feels like they must be struggling to put bums on seats. But ultimately, obviously, for like say two parents, let's say bring two kids to a game, that's a big chunk of change if you've got to buy them food and drink. So now they're trying. I mean, this is more for families. Try bring the kids along as well, where let's say a cheap ticket will feed them for you, so you don't have to put your hand in your pocket. And I think in the long term, and then like say maybe introduce a cheap subsidized price to just keep it going. Long term, this will be good because the days under Jamie Chadwell were good, like say, and they were up there when they had Grayson McCall. Like say, yeah, they've kind of fallen from grace a little bit. They've lost their way, but that's because they were a victim of their own success. If this puts bums on seats, whether they're winning games or not, you can't have empty stadiums. It never looks good when you're playing on TV. You need to get people there, and a gesture of goodwill will go a long way to hopefully getting the program, like I say, back in the right direction.
I think they said they're averaging about 18,000 at home last year. I'm not sure what their stadium holds, so they're not bad crowds, you know, and you know, hopefully you'll get that over 20 now. You'll be able to get some good atmospheres going there in the Sun Belt. So we'll see. But yeah, very classy gesture there from Coastal Cal, especially in this day and age of high inflation and all this stuff. So yeah, good on them. Let's move on in the news bits. And so, yeah, with Sac State obviously coming up to the FBS now, that leaves another hole in the FCS ranks. Obviously, they've lost some teams to the FBS in recent years, but there are two new teams coming up to the FCS as well to refill their ranks. So, 2025, and these are two brand new football teams who do not exist at this moment in time. So, in 2025, this will mark the debut, and this is a mouthful, the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley Vaqueros. I think it's Vaqueros. Means cowboys in Spanish, I think, or Mexican. They're joining the Southland Conference this year. Say they are a brand new team starting from scratch. They make their debut against the Sul Ross State Lobos on August the 30th. And then in 2026, another newly formed team will arrive in the shape of the Chicago State Cougars, who will be joining the East Conference. They recently launched their search for their first ever head coach there. But yeah, while they lose, they're gaining new ones, right? They got the Vaqueros coming up this year, and obviously Texas, hotbed for talent, high school talent. A lot of the even without the 5 stars, the 4 stars, even the 1 stars, 2 stars are pretty good recruits down there. It's fertile feeding ground for them. But Texas has a new football team going into next year, and my God, it is a mouthful.
Yeah. So I shared the renders of the building a brand new field, new bleachers, new stadium, like say the graphics that look really good. So I'm going to guess they're going up pretty quickly. I'm going to guess maybe for the first year they're playing somewhere temporary because they weren't in the
Um,
photos, were they? So I'm guessing they can't be playing in the photos now. But
no,
it's 8,000. It looked like a high quality field and bleachers. But yeah, never a bad market to come into. And yeah, Southland Conference is a pretty premier conference in the FCS. So they're going to be a little fish in a big old pond straight away. So be interesting to see how quickly they take to life. And another team, like say, that's looking for staff, building its first real football team, from the sounds of it. That's going to be difficult, but also Chicago, that's another great area up in Illinois. You've got teams like Northwestern, aren't you? Like big markets of football. So yeah, it's good to see that. Yeah, it's got to be a feeder line. You can't if the teams are going to start quickly jumping up to the FCS and the D3 and the D2 schools, going to have to quickly find a way to get to the FCS as well. As long as I don't price it out, like I said, I can't imagine it's that expensive to join the FCS. Can't be out like the silly 5 million that the FBS ask for.
no, no, no. It's not that expensive, I don't think. I think they said though this is the first time a team has been formed from scratch now since Kennesaw State, which I think was back in about 2014 or 2015. So obviously it's quite a rarity for these new teams to just spring up out of nowhere. So more teams shutting down at the minute, given the economic climate and that. But yeah, we welcome a new team to the FCS, and we'll see how they get on during the season. And we'll move it on now. And then we're going to head coaching bits and bobs here. So, a very interesting hire was made this week, and it concerns the ACC, and that is former NFL head coach Frank Reich is headed to the West Coast to become the interim head coach of the Stanford Cardinals. So, new Stanford GM Andrew Luck has hired the man who once officiated over his wedding a long time ago to now come and officiate over his new football program while he looks for a long team leader for the Cardinal. Of course, recently Stanford sacked Troy Taylor after just 2 years in the wake of allegations regarding his treatment of certain female members of staff on his team. And this team itself is coming off 4 straight 3-9 seasons. It has not been bowl eligible since 2018. This has not been a good period of history for Cardinal football. And Ryan, season-long interims like this, they're very rare in college football. Obviously, you get interims during the season when coaches are fired, but it's not often you get just and he's there for about 7 or 8 months. Now, the way I look at it is obviously pros for this. This is much needed stability for a program which is basically in tatters right now and needs to start rebuilding from the ground up. Obviously, Reich, a vast wealth of experience, will help him deal with what is going to be a very tricky situation for him. They don't even have an AD at the moment, either an athletic director. The guy in that position at the minute is also interim, so maybe it will be better to get a permanent AD in who will then hire a guy he wants to be head coach there as well as the GM as well. But the cons, and this is going to be the difficult one for them, right? It's going to be hard to recruit when your head coach is only in for 1 year. Recruits obviously are not going to know who the next head coach is. Does he value them the same way that Wright does them and this regime does? And we forget that recruiting at Stanford is already incredibly difficult because it's an elite university, which is hard to get into, which makes your pool of players incredibly small. It's an interesting move from Andrew Luck here in his first GM job. Like I say, on one side, the stability should be good for them and the experience and the familiarity should at least calm the waters, but it's going to be very difficult for them, at least in the short term, to start recruiting a team together that's going to compete in the ACC sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it feels like a throwaway year. And as you say, Stanford football since the last of David Shaw, it's been dark days. since you say 2018, 2019, it's been the lack of, the losses, the loss of like talent, the struggling in the transfer portal. As you say, it's an elite GPA school, so they don't just take dumb kids that are elite athletes because they just won't. They'll end up academically ineligible because they won't be able to keep up because it's a brain box university. And I understand it because I feel right now it must be somehow kind of an unattractive job. So it makes sense to go with someone, as you say, who knows well, coached him, family friend. And it's already come out as well that he will not interview for the permanent job either, whether he's been told you won or he's already decided. So he knows he's got his 12, won't be 13 games, no chance, but 12 games. And yeah, to just lay the foundations, to just get the players that are on the roster right now ready for 2026. It feels almost like try and keep them and convince them to stay here. So yeah, and then yeah, the front office, it's hard to just bolster the staff out. I say Andrew's very new to the position himself, and he's still finding his feet. So asking a friend to somewhat do him a favor and coach guys for a year kind of makes sense. But the long-term future, getting them back to where they were, it's going to be hard. I'm really not sure. And then this time next year, how many candidates do they get? Like you said, do we trust Andrew to find the next guy? Does he know the qualities he needs? I'm not entirely sure. I questioned the move when he was hired anyway. It felt like a university that didn't know what it wanted to go with look that does he have any experience whatsoever to make him a general manager? I have no idea, other than being a legend, but that really doesn't carry that much weight.
I don't know. I do think it is sensible from him. Like, don't rush in to get your first head coach. Like,
If he
it
does
does
someone a 4 or
feel,
5 year deal, I'd have said you're a fool.
yeah, I think this feels right. Like, you've got no AD, you've got no head coach, you've got no structure or balance there at the minute. Maybe an interim's the right thing to do. And as far as interim goes, this is a pretty damn good interim for them. But
Frank Wright
it's,
got disrespected in the NFL.
yeah,
Absolutely.
oh,
He
absolutely.
didn't do a bad job. There's not many jobs he should have been fired from.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tough, but I think he's made the right decision here. We'll wait and see. But like you say, because they seem to intimate that he was going to wait till the end of the 2025 season and see who was out of a job before he did this. And I'm like, you really want a cast off who's been fired from somewhere else, or are you waiting for
You'll be
maybe
looking
someone who
now
does
who you're
a
going to try and maybe buy
yeah,
out.
maybe
Right.
someone who does a good job, and it depends how you do it. But I do appreciate him taking his time with it. But yeah, it's going to be big for him because that program is in tatters at the
That
moment, and they
roster.
really
They've
need
lost
to.
Eli Manor.
Yeah, and it's they've lost the top.
Who's there? I need to look at that. I need to go away and look at who's going to be their starters this year.
And their star edge is in the portal, isn't he?
Yeah,
He took a visit to
Gregory.
Texas this week. He's taken a visit to Texas, to UCLA, maybe USC as well. But he's gone, and you think there's been some classy players come from there in recent years. Like there's been some very good players come from that Stanford program, and they've never been able to build on it. So we'll see. But yeah, Frank Reich is now in college football. I'm looking forward to finally finding out, see what he's like at the next level. Should
Be
be good
facing Bill
fun there.
Belichick as well.
Yeah.
Frank
Oh
Reich.
God,
Who
yeah.
who would have said that Frank Reich v Bill Belichick in
And they
college?
do actually play one another as well.
They
Because I was
do
looking,
play each other. I
their
think their
sh
first game of the season, I think, is UNC.
was it?
I
Oh
think
wow, that
I
could be
think their
fun.
debut could be UNC Stanford.
Oh wow,
I'm
Bill
sure I saw that
Belichick.
on Twitter. Or
Like you say,
it's like a Friday night under the lights game. It's one of
yeah,
those like it's going to
12.
be all eyes on them.
Well, like you say, 12 months ago, if you would have said, oh, yeah, you're going to see Frank Reich versus Bill Belichick in college football in 2 years, you kind of look at the person and have them committed in a straitjacket. So, yeah, we're going to get that this year. I didn't even think about that. Frank Reich versus Bill Belichick in college football because UNC and Stanford do play one another. Because I know Stanford's schedule's horrible this year. They've got to play Miami, they've got to play UNC, they've got all the teams who are going to bounce back, like Florida State and stuff like that. So, but anyhow, yeah, Frank Reich in at Stanford. Brent, oh, thanks ever so much, Brent. Brent sent in a $2 super sticker thing. He goes, "Who's next draft prospect review?" That'll be the one for you, Brent. I'm doing the video up on Elijah Roberts now. I asked you if you wanted a guy doing so. Elijah Roberts will be next. And then I think it's Tyler Baddy, because I love him at the edge position. And then we'll do more as well. MI Panther Pride is in the building, says, hey, I finally caught a show. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us this evening. So yeah, just at the minute, we're going through some college news and bits. Then we're going to move on to draft stuff. So if you have any draft questions, put them in the comments. We will answer them all as always. And we're going to look through some of the latest draft rumors and see whether we buy into them or not. But just moving on with the college news for now. And a new contract has been handed out this week, Ryan. Deion Sanders, new head coaching contract with the Colorado Buffaloes. It is 5 years worth $54 million and breaks down as such. In 2025 and 2026, he's paid $10 million. In 27 and 28, it's worth $11 million. Then in his last year on 29, it is worth $12 million. Deion took over a one-win, horrendously bad team in 2022, and to his credit, he turned it into a 9-win team last year with a bowl game, and that's just within 2 years. They sold out all but two of their home games last year, and now they've sold out more than four home games in a season in back-to-back years for the first time since 1994. He's turned them into one of the most watched programs in the entire country. 54 million viewers tuned in to their games last year. They said the attendances and the applicants to join the university have completely spiked with him there. And they said his, the money that's been brought into the local community, they reckon it's up to about 130 million that he's brought into the Boulder area. There is a reciprocal agreement in this deal between the team and the head coach to have a meeting at the end of the 2027 season, so that's 3 seasons away, to discuss a possible extension to this deals if both parties are so inclined. So really, this is kind of a 3-year deal, and then they'll decide where they're going from there. But if a team wants to buy him out, then by the year, you're looking at costs of. So if someone wants to buy him out this year, it's 12 million. In 2026, it's 10 million. In 27, it's 6 million. In 28, it's 4 million. And in 29, it's 3 million. So yeah, you get to 2027 when it's the first realistic time you want to buy him out, especially if you're a college team. Your NFL team, maybe not so much. But, right, there was a lot of skepticism when he first took that job. I think I hold my hand up and say I was in the grid. I didn't think this was going to work. And after that first year, you're like, what's going on here? But there's absolutely no denying what Deion has done for the Buffaloes. He's turned them into a force. He's turned them into almost a label, their own iconic thing down there. Now, people want to watch them, whether they love him or hate him. They will ride and die and watch this team. And this contract is very, very well deserved for him. And we'll see him for a few more years yet in Boulder.
I don't think we will. I'm not buying it. I think this is the university just trying to get the big buyout in. I don't think he's in it for the long haul now. Shiloh and Shadora, they're gone. I just don't feel like it's going to feel the same. He's Travis Hunter, Travis's little brother, will be a 2027 recruit. He's a 5'7", 140 receiver, like making highlight plays all over the internet. I imagine he's probably got one eye already in 2 years in the future, probably trying to get him wherever he is. But I think he's in the NFL by then. If next year he can replicate a team that has been absolutely shredded of all the talent this year, if he can replicate like a 9-3 year, I think an NFL team might pay that 12 million buyout.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think give it 2 years max, he's probably in the NFL. If he can have 2 good years and rebuild the program, get talent.
Mm.
I always thought like a gimmick. I've never been keen, but I can't deny he's not done a good job. He's made them a contender when I didn't think they would be. They used to be a laughing stock. They used to be the Vanderbilt of the Big 12, didn't they? 2, 3, 4 wins. Like they weren't respectful. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how he approaches it now with, like, say, his 3 extended children gone. Like you say, I imagine it still feels like a family, but will it be the same for him? It may be in a year he turns around and thinks, won't feeling it as much this year.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think one is the school saving itself, because again, you wouldn't
If
put
in
that.
a year they get $12 million for him, they're probably pretty happy to let him leave.
Yeah, and like I say, when you get to 27, when that buyout starts getting low, the fact that they've already got sort of an agreement to speak again, they'll probably renew it and up that buyout
Yeah,
again,
goes back
so
to
that
like
if he does
February.
go, yeah, you'll put the buyout numbers up again. So it does feel like but we've seen all these ex-professionals coming into the league now, and I think for me, anyhow, I guess you do appreciate the job he's doing now. So like I say, a lot of these ex-professionals come in. They do the fanfare and the hype and that, but when the going gets tough, they just down tools and they're gone. Whereas Dion, to his credit, he has worked hard at this, and he is, it's kind of what he should have done. He's brought his star power to a not as good team, and he's completely turned them around. This is how it should be. He's done it in a positive way, and we've got to argue with that, really, can we?
Next year we'll work out, was it Tom Brady? Was it Bill Belichick? Is he a good coach?
Yeah.
All his talent's gone. If they
Mm,
go 7-5, I'm straight away thinking that was Shador's team, that was Travis Hunter's team, that was BJ Green's team.
mm.
But if he can
This,
go 9-3 with for me a roster that don't look great
you've
compared
lost
to what he
every
had last year,
receiver.
then do you know what? I'll know he's legit then.
You've lost every starting receiver. Like literally, your four starting receivers are gone.
Yeah.
Your
You're
quarterback's
taking
gone.
a group of five quarterback and a big high level rookie that could fall flat on his face. And
Mm,
you're asking him to do what his son did.
exactly.
No
So
mean feat.
it'll be a big year for them. So we see what happens in Colorado, but there is no doubt Dion has earned his deal there. But one guy who potentially is not coming back next season, and it's unusual to have a head coach firing this late, but this is a bit of an odd one. So Kent State, they've placed their head coach Kenny Burns on administrative leave whilst he is under investigation for reasons that have not yet been made public, and nobody around this is talking. So you wonder kind of what it is. He's supposed to be entering year three as head coach of the program, but he is sporting what can only be described as a pretty disastrous record of 1-23 after 2 years, and the one win was over an FCS program. He led the only winless team in the entirety of the FBS last season as the Golden Flashes went 0-12. I mean, on record alone, you'd figure this is going to happen. Obviously, there's something a bit more to it, but Kent State need to blow this thing up really and start again, ideally, don't they?
Depending on what he's done, I don't mean to sound cynical. I don't mean it's the wrong way, but maybe this is a good thing because now
Mhm.
if they can fire him under grounds of misconduct, they don't have to buy. They don't have to pay him anything, do they?
No, no.
So depending on what he's done, like say if it's severe and like say it's grounds of misconduct and they let him go, then yes. But he needs to go anyway because yeah, the tenure's been a disaster. But if they can get rid of him for less or free, even better. Words administrative leave usually mean yes. Behind the scenes,
So,
his
yeah.
demeanor has not been acceptable.
So our resident Mac insider says this investigation was wrapped up in January. Now, the official line is he defaulted on a credit card debt of like 20 grand or something, and it's that, but it is monetarily. So we're not going to speculate right now, but that is what it officially is. But some say there's
Like I
maybe a
say, yeah,
little bit of a deeper thing to it.
they are the bottom feed of the FBS right now, realistically.
Yeah, they are the worst team in the FBS. They are what UMass were a few
And they
years
used to
ago.
be bloody good when they had Dustin Crum at quarterback, and we're only
They did.
talking 3 years ago.
They did. And I know one of the guys who has put his name forward for this job, Josh Cribbs. He is their
The
all-time
old
passing leader.
Browns guy.
Browns, the guy, yeah. So he
Right.
was a quarterback in college. The Browns turned him into a
Special team
returner.
returner.
He had like 8 return touchdowns in a year or something stupid like that. But yeah, Josh Cribbs is their all-time leading passer. I had no idea. He's put his name in that he photoshopped a picture of himself with the head coaching jacket on Instagram, I think it was. But
Oh,
he's made
anyway.
no desire to state that he would like that job. But I think their offensive coordinator is going to get a good look in as well. But we'll see. But yeah, Kent State, Kenny Burns is on admin leave there. And then just a couple of other bits we've got. So this was interesting, actually. I saw this the other day. So this is in regards to the Big 12, and I'll be interested to get your thoughts on this. So obviously, we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago now, whatever it was, about the new breakdown of college football playoffs and the automatic bids and everything that's been decided by the Big Ten and the SEC. Basically, were running this committee, and Big Ten and SEC get four auto bids. ACC and the Big 12 get two auto bids each. Then there's the group of five team who gets an auto bid, the top group of five. And then either with it being 14 or 16 teams, there's either one or three at-large bids. And that all depends on Notre Dame because Notre Dame get it if they finish in the top 14. Anyhow, the Big 12 for their two spots have decided that they might go down a different route to discover or to find the teams that they will send to the playoffs. So they're looking at changing their league structure up right away. So there's two proposals on the table that I don't know the AD of the Big 12's name off the top of my hand, but there's two proposals that they are considering to decide who's going to go. So the first up is the top four seeded team or the top four ranked teams by record in the Big 12 when they get to the end of the season, um, go into basically a playoff bracket with one another. And the top four teams will play one another. One plays four, two plays three, and the winner of those two games are the two teams that will go to will get the at-large bids for the Big 12. The other proposal that they've put in there as well, they're talking about going back to divisions within the Big 12. So obviously the Big 12 is expanding and getting bigger. So there's, ideas that maybe they would go to a Big 12 West and a Big 12 East. None of this is decided yet, but the West they would say would be comprised of Arizona State, Arizona, BYU, Utah, Texas Tech, Colorado, TCU, and Houston. The Big 12 East will comprise of Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, UCF, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia. And then you would do this, you would do a similar scenario where the top two from each, like the winner of the Big 12 West plays the runner-up in the Big 12 East, and vice versa. And the two teams who win those games go and get the at-large bids. First time I've seen this proposal, obviously they have to get this through the NCAA, and the NCAA have quite explicitly said no to the idea of, playoffs within the conferences to decide these. But apparently there's a lot of determination to make this happen. Would you be a fan? Because, obviously if you get the at-large bids, it's up to the conferences who they give it to, I guess. And would you be a fan of, or maybe if it wasn't these ways of doing something similar to that? Are there either of those proposals that you would like, or would you just like it to stay as like the two best teams come the end of the regular season?
It's too complicated. One, what's the point in the championship game?
There wouldn't be one. There would, well,
You have to get rid of it, really.
under the leagues, if they do the leagues, the East and the West, they will go back to doing what they did before, and they'll have co-champions. They won't have a champ. They'll do co-champions. Under the other proposal, they will still have a championship game, but I think both teams still make the playoffs. I think it's just for whoever wins the Big 12 outright.
I say, when
Uh,
are you going to play this mini playoffs? Because you're just going to get
bef-
the losing teams that play an extra game are just going to opt out of their bowl games because they're not going to play 14 games, are they? They're not going to want. No, going back to divisions for me is going in the wrong direction. But this is the problem. I'm not entirely keen on giving the conferences the power to decide their own. They're all doing different thing. Like people say, so the fourth best team in the Big 12 beats the first best and then goes into the playoffs and gets absolutely battered. And then someone's like, oh, well, you shouldn't have been here. Well, but they beat the first place team. So then was the first place team crap? I mean, it's a big old can of worms, is that? For me, maybe just know what, keep it as it is, get rid of the title game, send the top two teams to the playoffs.
yeah.
But then I also don't like the fact that no one can win the Big 12. I like championship games. But if you're going to make the playoffs bigger and have more games, then it feels like eventually the championship games have got to go to
Yeah.
get time to prepare for a quarterfinal.
Hmm.
So ultimately, yeah, it feels like anything will have to sacrifice a Big 12. I don't know.
It is an odd one, but I guess
And
if
they knew
you've
the
got,
playoffs were expanding. If they're going to do this, they should not have got rid of divisions then in preparation for an expanded playoffs.
well, I mean, when did the last Big 12 last have divisions? It's been some time. Was
Yeah.
it the mid 2010s? It's been a while since they scrapped the
If you just
system
expanded the
there.
playoffs,
So,
why don't they just take the FCS method? You just have
mm,
all the automatic bids, and then you get a committee that just picks the rest.
yeah,
Why do
I get.
the conferences have to pick their own?
I guess it's the Big 12 saying, well, look, if you're going to decide how many, because they don't get no say in this, it's the Big 10 and the SEC. I guess it's them saying, okay, well, we'll control who we do send then, and we'll do it our way. Maybe it's their way of saying, this is our power that we have. I don't know. I think it might be an intriguing theory and
I
concept.
think
I guess
ultimately,
you
if we
could.
go back to divisions, we can't let the conferences pick them because I can't have Michigan and Ohio State Big Ten top
Oh
seeds.
no, this is not everybody. This is just a Big 12
I
proposal as
mean,
it
I feel like they're
stands.
going to follow suit, like the Big
Yeah.
Ten do same. I can't have them winning each side, like we had for years.
I don't know if the Big Ten would, because the Big Ten get four auto bids, not two. Like I think it makes it easier just to have the top four teams there when it's just two bids. Like Big Ten was very competitive this year. There were four teams who legitimately could have won it. So maybe it works in theory, but I don't know.
Maybe
I
right. First
I
place gets a bid, second and third play each other.
yeah, like something like I
At
think
least reward the team that finishes.
yeah. Yeah, I think there is a
Play
version
at a
of this that
neutral
could
ground
work.
like Dallas. Play it at the NRG or play it at Dallas
This is
Cowboy
the
Stadium.
This is the thought is to use it at the Cowboys to the AT&T and do it there like a big ass championship.
Yeah,
But
you'll
it's
get
got
all fans going,
repercussions.
like you say,
Yeah.
make it as a oh, it's an eliminator.
I do like the thought of that actually. One goes through, 2v3 plays for it. That does feel like a fun thing.
Yeah,
And
because then you're
then
gonna get a good game. Loser, do you know what? Don't play your ball game if you're not bothered. Not.
yeah, yeah, and you'll get some good revenue out of it.
You'll
So
get some good games as well, like I say,
yeah.
because this year you'd have had Iowa State be like Colorado.
Yeah, that would have been a good game.
And the
Or
players, well, a lot of the players won't opt out. I mean, some of the draft players will, but a lot of them will want to play in a big game like that.
yeah. Or theoretically, it gives you more time to blood in the players for next year. Give them some valuable reps as well in another game and give them responsibility early on. Who
Yeah, and
knows?
like you say, yeah. So the first round team, they'll come in first. You get extra time to prepare for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Later, you've got yeah, an eliminator.
Obviously, just move the season back a little bit and then give them a bit
Yeah,
more time. But yeah,
yeah. If
I
you're going to
like
go
that
14 to
thought.
16, you're going to need an extra week or two in the season.
That's a good proposal, but we need to keep an eye on this because maybe some of the other conferences will start trying to do their own thing to decide who goes. We'll see if anyone tries to follow suit with the Big 12 and whether the Big 12 can get it through in the first place. But thought that would be interesting just to mention there. Duh, duh, duh. MI Panther goes, let's hunt home opener tomorrow. I'm guessing, is that the Michigan Panthers? Do they open tomorrow in the UFL? Guessing that's a reference to them. I guess it'll be their first
Should
game.
do because they just played on the road.
Yeah, so it'll be their first
The
home
first game
game.
was on the
So
road, yeah. So
how
tomorrow
did
just
they do?
field.
Did they win?
Yeah, they won the first game, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Kind of
Oh,
cool.
well.
Got a pick six.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Think of that. That was quite good, that actually was, wasn't it? I think he
Yeah, okay,
highballed
well,
it or
yeah.
something like that. We're good.
Big news
Yeah, I
is
enjoyed it.
DAZN has bought the rights from 2026. We'll be able to watch it.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
actually,
10
yeah.
countries not on the list, and the UK is not one of them, so we should get it.
Yeah, so Days and the
And their
group over
games are
here.
not that late, I don't think. So I don't think they're stupid. They don't play it like
No.
really late at night.
It's the legitimacy the UFL needed to get Dazen on as a broadcaster. So looking forward to that. So yeah, we'll see how the Panthers do. He goes, oh, the Buffs love Coach Prime. Of course they do. Da. He goes, are you interested in UFL at all, fellas? I mean, you follow the UFL
Yeah.
fairly rigidly, don't
Can't
you? You
watch it,
watch
but I
quite.
watch all the game highlights. Yeah.
Yeah, so Ryan watches them all, and as I say, hopefully next year we can start watching the full games. It's just access to the games over here is difficult, so
Yeah.
it's hard to
We
invest
don't
in
have
it.
it because we don't have, well, a lot of us will have like, oh, it's like ABC, NBC, and that. We can't get
Yeah,
really.
and and no one streams them, not like college games. Like college games, everyone streams on YouTube. No one streams the UFL on YouTube, so it's hard to watch that way as well. So yeah, certainly we would be more, and hopefully with Dazen coming on board now, we will be a lot more interested in it. going forward. Panther Brago's both Nakua brothers scored. Has he got two?
Yeah, Samson
Oh,
as
did
well.
Samson Nakua score as well?
Yeah, you've got Kai and you've got Samson.
Oh, they both
One's a
scored.
receiver and one's a safety.
Hey, good for them. Good for them. I just found out, just weirdly talking about family members, Kobe Bryant's nephew is coming into college football this year. He's that high five-star ranked safety. Think he's going to Alabama, if I
Yeah.
remember rightly. But yeah, Kobe Bryant's nephew's in college football. So again, more and more legacy players coming into college football now, which is cool. He goes, it's first time they have ever scored together in a game. That'd be quite good. Actually, I'd probably break some UFL record as well. I don't know if brothers will have scored in games before. I don't know if there's any brothers in there. Are the Yankees playing in the UFL or are they both still in the NFL?
Uh, Both trying to make the NFL, I believe.
So they're not down there yet. So
That's the
maybe
down the rosters.
yeah, maybe the Yankees will do it one day as well. But yeah, well done there to the Nakua brothers and well done to the Panthers. The other, was there one last bit of news? So there's one other little bit of news I wanted to try and go through. And hang on, I've lost the story. Just bear with me one moment, because I appear to have copied the link to the wrong story. Uh, duh, 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 duh. But we've been going through some of the positional groups coming back into college football in 2025. I think we did a little bit about the receivers. I think we did a little bit about the edge room as well. Well, ESPN released their running back rankings coming back to college football next year. Now, obviously, we are in the midst of one of the great, potentially one of the greatest running back classes in history, or at least the deepest. We may never get a running back class this deep again, but that doesn't mean there aren't a load of great running backs coming back into the college football game next year. If anything, it could be quite strong as well, especially the top might headline a little bit more than it did this year. But quickly wanted to go through the top 10 that they mentioned here. So, honorable mentions who are not in the top 10. And I had no idea some of these had gone back. So you got Jonah Coleman out of Washington. You got Jaden Ott out of California. I swear he had declared this year. Jaheim White from West Virginia. Darius Taylor in Minnesota. Caden Durham at LSU. Jaden Bohr, the superstar freshman from Florida. Nate Frazier out of Georgia. Jadarian Price out of Notre Dame. Le'Veon Moss out of Texas A&M. CJ Baxter out of Texas. And Roman Henby out of Indiana. But in terms of breaking the top 10 this year, we'll do 10 through 5 first. So number 10, they've ranked Bryson Washington from Baylor. 175 carries and 1,028 yards for him last year with 12 rushing touchdowns. He had a receiving touchdown as well. At number 9, you've got Jamal Haynes out of Georgia Tech. He had a 950 yards on 170 carries last year, 9 touchdowns, but 3 receiving touchdowns for him as well. Had a day against Florida State, which we all love. Quintravian Wisner from Texas is at 8, so he had 226 carries, 1,064 yards, just 5 touchdowns, but he had 44 receptions for 311 yards. Texas like their dual threat running backs. At 7, you've got Desmond Reed out of Pittsburgh. 966 yards for him last year. He was the transfer from FCS team Western Carolina. Had a great first year in the FBS. 966 yards, 5 touchdowns, 580 yards and 4 touchdowns as a receiver as well, with 52 receptions. That's 1,500 yards from scrimmage. And then at number 6, you've got Ahmed Hardy out of Missouri. So he is the superstar running back from Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks, who got himself a big promotion this year to a Missouri team, which has been churning out NFL running backs for a while now. 1,351 yards and 13 touchdowns for the Warhawks last year on 237 carries. And he was just a true freshman last year. Like, he's coming into this year as a true sophomore on this Missouri team and could be an absolute standout. But, you know, Ryan, we talk about this year, the running back class being really good, but there's not going to be a drop off next year. Like, guys like Jade not even making the top 10, but especially like Ahmad Hardy. I'm looking forward to seeing him, but there's some good names in here and names we'll be talking about a lot in 7, 8 months' time for the next draft.
I'm surprised Caden Durham's not at 10. The star freshman LSU running back. 175, little dude. Like say, behind the offensive line, like say, like 10 touchdowns, like say, just over 1,000 yards from scrimmage as a freshman. In a big, high-powered offense. Like say, he showed some proper flashes last year. Like say, some big names like Taylor's going, Kyron Lacey, names like that. Like say, where there's question marks around that. He should be a huge part of their offense. But yeah, big name list, like I said. Wisner, I think, is probably going to be in for a massive year now because Jaden Blue's gone. So Quintrevia Wisner, it's his team next year. Bond's gone, Helm's gone, Golden's gone, Blue's gone. Like, yeah, like I say, he is going to get a lot of work next year. As a receiver, like I say, he's a proper dual threat, but also as a running back. 225, 250 carries, like I say, he's going to be a proper workhorse next year. But yeah, some great names here. Yeah, Desmond Reed making the big jump up to Pittsburgh, who, like a running back, Pitt have had a good, long, steady career of producing running backs, and he decided to make a big jump from Western Carolina. But yeah, he fit that offense like a glove. And they had a lot of, like say, kind of issues at quarterback, like I say, because he picked up quite a few injuries. So he was looking to be relied on this year. So I expect next year they're going to lean on him quite heavily going forward.
Absolutely, but for me, Baylor's the one I'm so interested in this year.
He was
Obviously,
very
with
good. I'm
and it's
between
him and the quarterback.
Prendergrass. Prendergrass and him were a good duo, and then you've got a good quarterback in Sawyer Robertson. Like I said, the fundamentals are there for Baylor.
Are they ready? Yeah, they feel like they could be the Uber dark horse this year if they get it right. They've
Their
been,
offense can be high powered, and the defense can probably tread water.
yeah, it is. They feel because like last year the offense was so good, but then it would just have weeks where it turns off and you're confused. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Bryson Washington again this year. This Baylor team low key does make me a little bit excited. Let's get into the top five. I did four of them, didn't I? One, two, three, four, five. Oh no, just 10 of them. So number five, and this is our list of top running backs, ESPN's anyhow. So at five, you've got Isaac Brown from Louisville, 165 carries, 1,173 yards, and 11 touchdowns for him last year. Another true freshman running back. Like a lot of these guys are true freshmen. They are young and they are going to carry on getting better, but with his receiving yards, he had over 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns last year as a true freshman. Isaac Brown, future stud. We've got Mackie Hughes of Oregon at number four, the Tulane transfer who has just been crazy for the Green Wave the last few years. 265 carries, 1,400 plus yards, and 15 touchdowns last year. Rushing had two receiving touchdowns as well, and obviously no Jordan James at Oregon anymore. He's going to be the lead guy there. Then at 3 and 2, you've got the Penn State pairing of Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton, both 1,000-yard rushers last year. Katron Allen had 8 touchdowns. Singleton had 12 touchdowns. He got 5 receiving touchdowns as well. Nicholas Singleton. Katron Allen had 2. Nicholas Singleton's up at 4,673 all-purpose yards over the last 3 years. He is insanely good. He's living up to his five-star prospect. But then at number one, and I'm assuming you can guess who number one is coming back this year. He's at a school that's known for good running backs and very good offensive linemen and very good at not committing to a conference. I'm sure you can guess who is number one.
Oh, Jeremiah Love.
Yes, Jeremiah Love. 163 carries, 1,125 yards, 17 touchdowns on the ground, 2 touchdowns in the air, 237 yards, 28 receptions as the guy there, averaging 7 yards per carry last year. Obviously, he was in tandem. I think this year they're going to give him the vast majority, but again, all this running back talent is coming out of college football this year, but you've got one of the deadliest duos ever there at Penn State. Jeremiah Love should be a first round lock if he has the season there. But then, as I say, 3 or 4 of these guys on here, they're true freshmen. Mackie Hughes, I'm looking for, like all these guys at the top, I'm really looking forward to seeing again next year.
Where's Kanye Udo? Like over
Disrespected.
1,000 yards at Army, and he transfers to Arizona State. that have just had like 4 running backs drafted in 5 years. It's disrespectful.
Oh, we've got the Arizona State disrespect up already.
They're going
Just
to learn when he goes for like 12, 1,300 yards. But no, I'm interested in Mackie Hughes. Like I say, Jordan James was a good scat back. He's little. Like you say, he did really good job. That Oregon offensive line just it eats good, doesn't it? Like I say, they're becoming a team now that's producing NFL level offensive linemen on a yearly basis. Tulane were a juggernaut. They gave him the ball. Like I say, it was explosive offense. He's coming in super experienced. He's looking to probably have his big breakout year and then, like I say, head to the draft. Could be a match made in heaven for him this year because, like I say, Dante Moore's going to need some help. And then, yeah, Jeremiah Love, I'm pretty sure he'd have been a first round back this year. I think you could have made a case between him, like go somewhere between John T. Hampton and uh yeah. So yeah,
Dawkins.
yeah. Whoever's quarterback there, you got the experienced Angelic, or you could have like say CJ Reed, like say the young kid. It's going to be Jeremiah Love's love offense next year. Like there's no confusing that. He is going to get hundreds of touches and he's going to have a monster year. And frankly, it don't matter how well a team does, he's going to be going into 2026. He's going to be taken in the first round. So for him, it's all about
Staying
just
healthy, running the rock.
yeah, just stay healthy, pound the rock, and you'll be making a lot of money next year.
Exactly. So it's a very wide and very classy. Let's say you've got the
He
studs at
doesn't
the
see how
top,
Caitron Allen and
Nicholas
Nicholas
Singleton,
Singleton split carries this year because they both want to be potential first rounders.
and they both could have declared this year. They're both coming back for their senior years. So
Yeah,
they've,
and one of them didn't hit the portal.
yeah,
It
interesting.
feels like it's always been Singleton's team and his job. And it feels like Allen is kind of like the the second fiddle.
Yeah, Allen's the one who's came in and like I think Singleton may have already declared if Allen wasn't along, but they work great as a duo together. You can't deny that. Like they are the best running tandem in college
So will
football,
that
and I
hurt the
don't
draft
think it's
stock
close.
in a year's time?
That's the problem. But will it also stop them getting run down in college? Like they're not going to be coming through with stupid number of
I suppose
carries,
technically
are
as well,
they?
like
So
this is the year for Penn State. If Penn
yeah,
State don't make
it's
like
a
the
gamble.
semi-finals of the playoff college this year, then Franklin could be out, Aller
It's
could be a bust, and the running backs are probably like, oh, we should have declared last year.
it's a big gamble. Like you said, they want to be seen on the stage in the playoffs in big games to
This is the
rocket up
year
that
that
draft
Penn
stock.
State have got to prove they're serious.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big, big year for them indeed. But they've got the running backs too. But yeah, those are the top 10 ESPN have listed as coming back. But as Ryan said, like Kanye Udo is going to be a fantastic running back. He's not even on the honorable mentions list, so it's going to be fun. But Isaac Brown, Ahmed Hardy, like true freshmen who are bona fide starters already, it's going to be a fun year watching the run again in college football. Right, let us get out of that. And I think that was just about everything news-wise that we had. Obviously, if there's anything else college football wise anyone wants us to chat about, just whack it in the comments and we will chat about it. I don't think there's anything else just for the time being. Brent goes, I wonder what percentage of HBCU players are in the NFL and UFL. It'll be a lot higher in the UFL. It'll not be so high in the NFL right now, but potentially a few of them getting drafted this year. So we'll see. Hopefully that little drought's going to come to an end because it's been a couple of years since someone's been drafted
I
at
suppose
this
the biggest
point.
name will have been Jalix Hunt last year, won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah. Joshua Williams has won a couple as
Williams, yeah,
well.
a few of them have made Super Bowls in recent years.
Yeah, there's absolutely they should be able to yeah, plenty of good players. They just don't get the opportunity. So hopefully someone's able to give them the opportunity. But I would imagine it's not high. I imagine you'll find a lot more in the UFL or in Canadian football as well. I think you'll find quite a few there. Hang on, I've just deleted what I want to. Bear with me one moment. There we go. So yeah, that's all the college football news. So now we're going to move on to draft bits. So, if you've got anything you want to chat about in terms of the NFL draft, any questions you want to ask, just ask us while we're in now. But what I kind of wanted to do first, before we're waiting for any questions or anything, obviously the draft is 3 weeks away now, right? And this is the point of the year now where you start to hear rumors that happen in the draft. These teams are thinking this, these teams are thinking that. People are leaking things left, right, and center, trying to manipulate draft boards and manipulate the rise and fall of draft prospects based on their needs and that. So I want to look through some of the rumors that are happening right now and see whether we buy into these rumors or whether we don't buy into these rumors. It's one of the fun things you can do at this point of the year. And I've got a few articles up for this, but I'm going to start with the PFF ones first because they've just done an article recently whether they are buying and selling the latest rumors that are happening in the draft. And obviously, we've got to start at number one at this point with the Tennessee Titans. And it seems, for all the most intents and purposes now, that any potential talk of a QB battle at one is done now. And it seems like the Tennessee Titans are going to lock in and take Cam Ward at this moment in time. Do you dispute that in any way? Do you think there is still some legs to be had here? Someone's maybe going to trade up and it's not going to be the Titans, or are you now also locked into maybe the idea that the Titans are going to stay there and they're going to take Cam at this point?
Yeah, I believe it. They're told there's been reports saying that they've not had any offers for Will Levis. There's a reason for that. That's because Will Levis, we know, ain't the guy. And obviously, like I say, it's a crap situation for him. He doesn't have many suitors. Like, I mean, Joe Milton's getting traded, and people aren't even ringing about Will Levis. Like, it feels like he will be shipped off pretty soon or just released. But yeah, they held a private workout with him, didn't they, recently, to just like dot the I's and cross the T's. But it feels like Cam Ward's probably got an idea that he knows he's going first overall. I think it'd take a pretty big trade offer. I think it'd be someone desperate. It'd be too much for someone to trade up. But like I say, any serious trade offers now, I feel like the Titans, especially what they've done in free agency as well, it feels like they're leaning towards just taking their future signal caller.
Yeah, so Will Levis is about to head into Davis Mills territory, right? On a bad team, kind of get your ass handed to you a bit. You hit around a lot, and
Probably
then you're going to be
desperate for
stuck
someone
as
to
the
trade for him.
and you're going to be stuck as the back. Like, I didn't think Davis Mills in Houston was ever the worst quarterback in the world. I think he got put in a rotten situation, and then CJ Stroud arrived, and that was all she wrote for him. But he stayed there to his credit, and he does get some snaps. So maybe Levis will do the same. But I'm with you. I do think they're now probably locked into Cam, and I think rightfully so. Like, Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this draft, right? I think he is. And I don't think there was ever a competition on this. And I think people have spoken down about him way too much. I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate here, but I think it's the right decision, don't you? Cam at one, he is the best quarterback in this class, and I think he deserves to go one.
No, I don't think it's the right decision. I'd take Abdul Carter first.
Oh, I mean, as quarterbacks go,
As
like no,
quarterback,
just as
yeah.
quarterbacks go. Sorry,
I'm
yeah, I
not
should have
comfortable with any of them
specified
at
that.
one, but if I'm gonna take a punt on one, I saw a lot of NFL players from. I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly from Cam Ward, and he very much excites me and terrifies me, and that's kind of what I'm probably plucking for.
Yeah,
If I'm
yeah.
honest, at first overall, but yeah, for me, I would take Abdul Carter or trade it, but I get what they're doing. Like I say, feel like they're in win now. Like I say, obviously they've worked really hard on their offensive line as well, so kind of feels like it's time to put a quarterback behind it and see what he can do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. A quarterback should not be number one in this draft. Well, Cameron should be the number one quarterback in this draft. But yeah, I think the Titans are going to stay there and do that now. Then the other big one came out this week. So Adam Schefter saying that he thinks it's more and more unlikely that both the Browns and the Giants are going to pass on quarterbacks, whether that be Shador Sanders or Jackson Daw or hell, Cam Ward, if Titans shock the world and don't go him there. And they're sort of reasoning that it's because of the weakness of this quarterback class and that they're not sold on any of them, so they go get a player instead and maybe tank. But I don't buy this one as much. Like, you're up there for a reason. You are not a good team. The Giants have got Russ in. That's not a long-term fix there. Cleveland have nothing there. You're riding out that Deshaun Watson contract, whether you like it or not, but you need a quarterback for future years going forward. You need a new guy there now. And people go, oh, well, it's a weak quarterback class, but, let me tell you about next year's quarterback class as it stands. So right now, your top ranked guys
Three dollar and a half
potentially
running.
Next year, you've got Arch Manning, who's never been a starter properly. He's played some starter games before, but he will have 1 year of experience behind him. And as we've been told time and time and time again, scouts are warning QBs not to come up till they've been 2 years as starters because you're not going to develop enough for the league and you're going to struggle, which has been shown through every 1 year quarterback who's come up in recent years. You've got potentially Nico Iamaleava, Drew Aller, maybe Lenoris Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Carson Beck. I mean, are you telling me there's a bona fide quarterback prospect in there? If anything, 2026 could be worse than 2025. I don't buy this logic that they're going to sit and wait and maybe tank for somebody because there's no given for the future. You don't know if there's going to be any good quarterbacks. We've seen in so many years gone by, like the Spencer Rattler and Sam Howell year, where they were 1 and 2 undisputed, and neither of them made it near the top pick. I don't buy that they're not going to go quarterback. If you're up there, you've got to get one while you're there, and you can't risk waiting.
See, for the Giants, letting Barkley go and then watching him dominate and win a Super Bowl has probably left the worst taste in the Giants fans' mouth for years. They've had enough. You've got to do something. And I know Russ is there, but like I said, Russ ain't the answer long term. The Giants, they ain't, that's it. Their run game right now is got Tyrone Tracy Jr. You've got a veteran quarterback. Oh, don't get me wrong, you've got Malik Neighbors, but yeah, there's no identity to the team. The fans feel disillusioned, like they're had enough. They've watched the Jets go out and get, like, say, throw loads of money at load of new faces and go get someone like Justin Fields, who has a lot of upside. And it feels like the Giants are getting left behind and stuck in the doldrums. I can. So for me, the Jackson Dart makes the most sense for the Saints and the Giants because he doesn't have to play right now. You've got Derek Carr, you've got Russell Wilson. And after what the Browns GM came out today and said, yeah, Deshaun Watson, what is a disaster. We're riding this out until we can get rid of him at the least costly price. And Deshaun Watson probably didn't like them anyway. He's probably now even more pissed off. Like I say, yeah, that's. I don't know what the Browns do, but it feels like they quickly need a new franchise of the face. Obviously, you got Miles Garrett, and you've managed to keep him, agreed to him, but you've had to give him a lot more money than you probably wanted to. A big old extension they probably didn't plan to give him because he's backed
No.
into a corner and he's put them over the table and he
Uh,
spanks them.
And now everyone's speculating you put Carter with Garrett, then you've got like a fierce edge rush duo, but you've still got no quarter. Like Miles Garrett's not made a jot of difference to that team because of the quarterback play.
Yep.
He can play out his mind to be an all-pro every year, but one defender's not going to take you over the line. You've got to sort your QB sitch out. And I just look at next year's crop, and don't get me wrong, these next year's quarterbacks could be really good. I love Nico Iamaleava, but he's nowhere near a polished project yet. Drew Aller, no one wanted, like, no one was saying nice things about Drew Aller next year. So I don't want to hear someone go, oh, well, next class is better next year when he's going to be a headliner of it. Arch, who knows what's going to go on with him until he's been a full-time starter and it's just him and there's no Quinn there anymore. I don't know. I do not buy the rumor whatsoever that these two are going to be out on quarterback. You've got to go and try and get them. I think Jackson Dart and Shador Sanders are very good quality. Go get them. Make your franchise better. Dive into a few comments. Depfan Man City goes, where would Nick Scowerton have been targeted if he never transferred? Allegedly, he led the Big Ten in sacks as a sophomore at Purdue before transferring. How much did it cost him to attend A&M? I mean, this is an interesting thing, right? So obviously he didn't get as many sacks this year, but the
They went
belief
from
is
11 to 4.5.
yeah, the belief is,
He's
he's
now a
better
better
at
run defender.
yes, and this is going to be an interesting comparison, right? Because who did stay at Purdue their entire career? George Karlaftis did. Where did George Karlaftis get drafted at? I think it was 29 or 30. Because the
Yeah,
Chiefs got him, didn't they?
Yeah.
Maybe it may have been 32, but he got drafted between 28 and 32. And George Karlaftis was a hell of a good pass rusher who was just allowed to be a hell of a good pass rusher for years. But when he came up to the NFL with the Chiefs, took him a bit of time to adapt to the run game. Nick Scowerton is talked about in that general category, right? he's in play with the Lions at 28. He's in play in that area. So I think he's going to go at exactly the same point George Karlaftis did. So I don't think it matters that I don't think he's lost any stock by moving rather than staying at Purdue because Karlaftis stayed at Purdue, still didn't get him any higher up the rankings, and yet he's a multi-time Super Bowl winner now because he was great. I think Nick Skoughton's great as well.
Yeah, I think Skoughton's a better player now. He's more well-rounded. He's worked out his body shape. He's lost a lot of weight from the Purdue days, and he looks a lot better for it. He's shedded weight, like I say, but he's kept the muscle, the strength, and now he's probably more of a 2 or 3 down player than he was before. Well,
Mm.
last time he could be the come on like the home run guy now, but now you could put him as a potential big end, and you could leave him on to play against the run. I think at 28. I'd say with 20-30% confidence, I feel he feels like a lion.
He does. And I mean, it worked well for Karlaftis. Karlaftis is going to get a payday
Oh
like
yeah,
in a
he's
year's
grown into
time.
one of the best all-round outside defenders right in the
He's
league
going to
right
get
now.
paid, and maybe it's better for scouting because he'll be on a contender and not higher. But I think if he stayed at Purdue this year and got 15 sacks, he wouldn't be any higher. I
Yeah.
mean, look, Shamar Stewart's getting top 10 love because he got 1.5 sacks this year. I mean, you just can't change the mind of some people about athletes and race warriors and
Let's
stuff like
scout
this,
and
can you?
let's scout and went from 6'4" to 6'6" and 245
Yeah,
to 265. Yeah, then maybe he's top 10, top 15. But yeah,
yeah,
changing team. Yeah,
yeah,
they just asked him to play a different role.
exactly. There are just some, views.
He doesn't pin
People's,
his ears back now and just go
no,
after Russia. Like I say, he's got to hold his own against her. He's got to
yeah,
box now, and he won't
yeah.
do that Purdue.
Yeah, there are long-held suspicions amongst NFL staff, wrongly. When you see a player's body size and shape, you have a ceiling, rightly or wrongly. So I don't think Scouten would have got much higher
You
anyhow.
look at Mike
So
Green. Mike Green is a pin his ears back
yeah,
pass rusher.
and people love that.
Where Mike Green will get let down is if he can't play against the run, that means he can't be there on first down.
He can't play against top-tier competition either. People will to this day say he dominated Ohio State. No, he didn't. He got 1 sack. You watch the rest of the game, he
Mike Green might
struggled.
have 9 sacks as a rookie, but his run grade for PFF, I reckon, will be poor.
Yeah, that'll be the problem you face with
But
him
that'd be fine
initially.
because some
So
teams don't want a run defender.
yeah,
We need
exactly.
a run defender because it's our bread and butter.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't think scout and transferring affected his draft stock that much. You're talking maybe a place or two, unless he falls. I think that's the only way this, if he falls to 40 or something like that, as some people say, then maybe you can say it affected him. But I don't think so in the grand scheme of things. Nothing major. Anyhow, but appreciate the question. That's fun to discuss. Then Debt Fan Man goes, even General Booty is going to need more time. He transferred again. Where the hell's he gone now? He lost the starting job at ULM. I have
Yeah,
no idea where he is now.
I don't. Drew
Okay.
Pine. Drew Pine's in the portal again today.
Oh God.
Looking for his fourth school.
Oh God. Yeah. TJ Finley got arrested. He's at his fifth school. Wow. He's just what you doing, kiddo? What you doing? Just not going to happen now. He's the new Tulane quarterback as well, so they're going to be in a bit of a pickle if he's gone down. Um, Carlton Woods in the chat, he goes, question. Dan has said they'd like to get younger at wide receiver. So which two wide receivers could we take on day 3 to start next season with Amon Ra and JMO, Patrick and Lee for over 30, Kennedy and Bell in the practice squad, and Green. And he lists some options. Pat Bryant, Ricky White, Isaac Teslar, Rock Taylor, Brew McCoy, Andrew Armstrong. I mean, my answer would be two of them, Brew McCoy and Ricky White. They're the two you could get to start for you next year potentially and be what this team is
They're all
all
day
about.
three options, yeah. Like I said, I read somewhere they like that, like say there's rumors they like Tesla. What is he, 6'2", 200,
Yeah,
210, so he's a good size. But like I said, Rock Taylor was a beast at Memphis. Like I say, a really good option on the outside, yeah. Armstrong, Brew McCoy, like I say, probably just because of injuries, round 7 kind of guy, maybe UDFA purely because he's had some serious injuries. Like I say, he's had like a broken ankle, fractured leg, like I say, that Babby.
yeah,
Yeah,
you'll get him late.
yeah.
See,
All of those names, but I could see any one of those names on day 3 coming here. I like
see,
Pat Bryant, but I think he will probably be, he's probably like around 4 or 5 guy. The rest of them are maybe,
I think Ricky is as well. For me, if it's me picking, I'm picking Ricky White and Pat Bryant on day two. I think they're that good. But yeah, I think they would be some of the ones you would slot in. I mean, a few of them are outside guys. I don't know about slot receivers who may. I mean, the fun one, I guess I would I would want LeJohntay Wester here. He'll be a day three pick. I think if you want someone to
Will
work with
Shepherd,
Amon Ra,
outside day three guy, 6'3", 200 from Colorado.
any one of the Colorado receivers, I think I'd be happy with, especially because they're all going to be development projects. But I think LeJohntay Wester would be my favorite. So I think I could envision him being a starter potentially as well next year. So yeah, there's some of the guys I would think there for sure. As I say, keep your questions coming if you've got any. We'll go through a few more of these rumors now. So obviously pro days are done, RAS cards are filled out and everything. And when RAS comes out, that's the final sort of time a player's stock can go up or down. But there seems to be a massive fight at the moment as to whether Mason Graham remains a potential top five pick in this draft, and people saying that it's just not going to happen anymore because, like Will Campbell, he's got short arms, I think it is, that's going to do him. Do you buy the idea that he's going to fall this far? That he's going to fall out the top five and potentially further? I don't. I think he's one of the best players in this draft, and he should go top five any day of the week. And anyone who doesn't take him is stupid. But what about you?
I don't think he's going top five. I've never thought going top five, but I still think he can be top five immediate impact rookie. Like I said, the measurables on that, they just don't bother me. After seeing Elijah Cansey with, like say, such poor measurables go in the first round and make a decent impact even as a rookie, short arms and that, it don't bother me. I think, like you say, he will be a potential immediate kind of like defensive rookie contender. Yeah,
I,
no one, anyone that's got like a gaping hole in the middle of the defensive line that's picking in the first 10 picks. If he falls your way, then yeah, just snap him up. The
feel like
guy,
the Jag.
yeah, he's hard as nails.
I feel like the Jags should be taking him there because they need someone like him on that team to give them a bit of a
Will Johnson or
spine.
Mason Graham, just pencil one of them in. The Jags need one of them.
Yeah, I think he's a top five pick potential. I think the Jags would take him there. And then the same question about Will Campbell within the top 10, because again, people are saying the arms are short, but like
That's the
Will
one.
Campbell said, no one cared about
Don't
his
scare
arm
tiny
size.
arms.
No one
Look how high he was taken.
No one cares about Will Campbell's arms. They haven't cared for the last 3 years. They've watched him play as a starter since day one at LSU. Now, all of a sudden, a couple of inches has put off 3 years of tape and that. It's stupid. I've got the same answer to this. He shouldn't fall anywhere near out of that top 10. Do you think he will? Do you think people are that stupid?
Nope. It didn't bother the Titans when they took Peter Skronsky, and he had really short arms.
Or the Detroit Lions when they took Aiden Hutchinson?
Hutchinson's got shot. Hutchinson's only got 33. Yeah, 33. Yeah. And that is below average for a pass rusher.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of short arm guys in the league. It's all about technique. And Will Campbell, he does have the technique. You don't start as a true freshman at LSU at left tackle if you've not got technique and you've got the ability to go behind it as well. One of the other interesting the buying or selling rumors here. So this is the first time in a very long time when all 32 teams possess their own first round pick. What are the odds that for the first time ever, all 32 teams use their first round pick and no one trades out?
Very unlikely. I've got a feeling I'm going to stay up till like 4:15 and Brad's going to trade out the first round.
I'd
I can see
hate
the
that.
Lions moving out.
I would despise that.
The ball don't fall like how it is, then move back to like say 34, 35. I'm kind of on board with it.
I would despise that. I don't want to go down, I want to go up. Get the right guys,
It's just it would worry me who we're
not a
going
load of guys.
back up for. I mean, who we're going back and taking.
The Shamar Stewart stuff's really starting to make me nervous. Like, I would be devastated if we took him and we traded up to take him as well. I would be absolutely devastated.
I'm not keen on trading up at all. But it would depend. It would have to be something that blows me out of my mind.
I think Walter Nolan and Nick Scoughton have got a full right
I
to
think
us.
I could
And
only
those are the
go up for a
two.
defensive lineman.
Those are the two. Walter Nolan and Nick Scoughton. If they fall to 28, you stay and you take one of them, and you're probably one's going to fall to you, one or the other. Now, I've seen rumors that the Eagles do want to trade up for a D lineman. If they're traded up for either of those, then I would jump in front of them and do it because there is no way in hell I'm letting the Eagles get one of them and not us. They're good enough already. So it depends what the Eagles want to do, right? Because they are our nemesis in the NFC right now. If we want to get to the Super Bowl, we got to beat the Eagles. We cannot allow the Eagles to come up for more elite defensive line talent at our expense.
I
I've
think
seen a lot of mocks.
In PFF's official second round mock today, the Lions take Jack Sawyer at 60.
I would
I
mind
think
that.
that's the first. Yeah,
But
that's where I'm. That's another guy with really short arms.
yeah,
Yeah, and at 60, I'm pretty okay with taking him there. No higher,
no.
not moving around to get him, but at 60, I'm happy to take a chance on him.
Especially if you get like a Walter Nolan at 28. Walter Nolan and Jack Sawyer. I love that. That'd be a wonderful first two rounds for us. And immediately our defensive line is a lot better.
Hans
So
Zerline gave us Josh Connolly Jr. in his first round mock yesterday. Round his third
I'm
all
just
fair.
not crazy about having a. Because this year I want Mahogany to be a
He said, yeah,
starter.
he said this year we play him at guard, and then he thinks Taylor Decker's gone next year. And then
Oh,
you put him at left tackle in 2026.
that's an interesting concept. I've never thought about having the long-term replacement for Decker on the line this year because Dan mentioned about like he's not committing to Mahogany on the line this year. Hell, he's not even committing to Graham Glasgow at this moment in time. But for me,
They're
I
still
just
looking for a veteran offensive lineman,
I,
aren't they? He said, yeah.
I want I just want one new starter per year. I want to keep the continuity on the line. Let Mahogany bed in this year with Glasgow. Get Glasgow out the team next year. Get your new guard in. Then one more year. Then get someone in for Decker. Do it that way. If you replace two or three at once, it just ruins your line's cohesion. So I'm not really a fan of taking a round one pick. I feel like if we took Grazer Bell, you've got to start him day one, really. If you're picking 28 with him,
Yeah.
and I don't want
And then
two
what do you do
new
with him in the
guards.
future? Is he Frank's replacement or
And
is he
what
a permanent guard?
And what do we do with Graham? Because Graham's on a big contract. I mean, relatively big. So I don't want to pay Graham all that money to be a backup next year. But I don't want Mahogany's development to be impacted. So I don't really want a new guard there at this point. I'm not gonna lie. Or you just cut Glasgow, I guess. But it's odd. I don't want to take one. But that's just me. I defer to Brad. He knows what he's doing, but just me personally, I wouldn't want to do that. Brent goes, Hutch has short arms. Yes, of course he does. That's the big one. It doesn't matter about the size. It matters about up here. Up here can get a lot done, which physical and athleticism cannot. In terms of other draft nibbles coming out. So we talked about the number one pick, the Browns and the Giants. We're not entirely sure what's going on with them. The Patriots is an interesting one because now apparently the number four pick is potentially up for grabs. The rumor is the Saints are going to come up for somebody because they're now thinking their QB sitch. That would be crazy given that
That
you're
would be
keeping Derek
definitely.
Carr for another year and you've got Spencer Rattler. But the grapevine is now that the Saints are in play for this. And if 2 and 3, if they're not going to take, if they're not going to take any quarterbacks there and they slip to 4, that's where the market opens up for teams who maybe want to come up
Where
and
are the
get it
Saints
done.
now? 9?
The Saints are 9. So
That
9
don't
to
make sense to me trading up because, like I said, for me, Jackson Dye is probably going to fall into their lap.
it depends who they want. If you want Shador there,
Do you give up heaven and earth to go up to 4 and get Shador Sanders, or do
but
you
it's
wait and bank on potential Jackson Dart?
But it's what do the Patriots want to do as well? Because you've got a blue chip. I mean, I guess if 2 and 3 go Mason, no, yeah, Mason Graham and um, bloody Abdul Carter, and you've lost your blue chip defensive prospects, maybe then it does make sense for them to go back.
Abdul Carter's not there. Patriots deal for. There's no one worth it.
I think
They don't need a
because
receiver.
the other rumor I saw as well is that the Steelers might try and come up that high. because they're not set. They need to make a move eventually because they're just in complete limbo at this moment in time. But there's more and more rumors saying that the Steelers might come. So maybe could we see a fight for QB at 4 if these fall and we see some big trades happen? I think it's interesting, but I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility.
Oof, the Steelers, that'd be expensive, wouldn't it?
20 to 4 or to 5, I think was
Yeah,
the
that
theoretical.
yeah. If Abdul Carter's not on the board, Patriots for me, take whatever you can get. Even if it's not a good trade.
It's year one of Vrabel, and Vrabel should get a good leash there, given his Patriots
Yeah.
history.
Let's say if you think about it, you've just got Harold Landry, like you say, but you've got rid of, like you say, you've lost Devin Godshaw, Dietrich Wise. You really could do with the defensive line. So Mason Graham really does make sense in New England because the interior is
Yeah,
rich, but do you take him at 4? Do you take Travis Hunter, but you've just signed Stephon Diggs to a big deal? Do you want to get another receiver?
yeah,
Or do you
potentially.
put him at corner to go opposite Christian Gonzalez?
Mm,
But then maybe do you just take Will Johnson? For me, the
yeah,
Patriots are the most difficult team to watch.
yeah. I think I had them going for Abdul but if he's not going to
I
be
had Abdul
there,
Carter, but
then
yeah,
I
that's
think
when if he's there, you take him. If he's not, then
it throws everything out of sync then. And I think there's going to be a lot of, there's going to be a lot of movement if you see there. Actually, I've gone back just to check my sources earlier. They had the Saints going up to 2 with the Browns, and they only gave up a 1 and a 3 for it. That seems not much from 9 to 2.
so that's definitely Shador Sanders then.
But yeah, and so the Saints, odds of Saints going up for a quarterback seem to be quite high now. If the Giants and the Browns are going to pass, then I feel like that could be a big thing
Both of
there
their
where they
bad
go.
cap situation, frankly, at this point, it doesn't matter if the Saints just blow it all up.
They need, yeah, because Derek Carr's on 50 million. They need to get rid
Cars
of
are
him
50 million a
eventually.
year, and Cars playing what on average, like what, 10 games a year because of
But then you
injury.
give up on Spencer Rattler, I guess, and Rattler's looked okay. Like you give them a good line to defend him
All
with.
samples, yeah, but I say I just
Like
don't trust him.
Like the Saints need a new tackle. Ramchick's retired. Like you figured that would be their priority this year, but it's all over now. Like these are the rumors you hear. I can buy it if they're finally going to blow it up, but it seems like they're a team who's always tried to maintain the illusion they're a contender. When they're not,
Yeah.
it would move.
I really did, like, say if the Saints blowing up, like you need to trade away like Alvin Kamara. He's your most
Mm,
valuable asset right now. You need to deal him. The poor guy is happy to just be a bottom feeder every year.
yeah. Yeah, the theoretical Steelers pick to get the Jags one, 2015. They say they give up a 1 and a 3. I feel like they would have to give up more than that.
Oh
That
yeah,
would be
I think
good value.
that's like two ones, isn't it? 15
That
spots.
Yeah, that would be good value for them if they wanted to do that. The rumors that the Bears are going to go up to get a lineman as well. I can buy that. I'm still not sold on their left tackle, but the rumors they might trade up as well.
Sensible pick
Then
would, yeah, be another first round pick on the line, and then pretty much they're probably set in 2026 with what they've done now. And then another rookie lineman, like you said, I'd respect that offensive line. It's going to get a lot better this year. If you had, like, say, a Zabel or a Ursary or a Donovan Jackson, like I said, they're probably having a stellar line in 2026.
yeah, potentially. Carlton goes, so we don't think Manu is Decker's planned replacement or his ceiling is swing tackle. I'm going to be brutally honest. I would say no. I don't
Mm,
see it. I know they all
no, no.
rave about him and that, but and again, I'm going. It's a bit mean to say this right now, but he is a day 3 pick,
Yeah.
and the odds of a day 3 pick
Right now
becoming.
his future looks like Tyrell Crosby.
It feels like he's going to be
Rotation swing tackle.
yeah, yeah.
But from where he started, that's probably a big jump for him.
Or Dan Skipper's replacement. Big sixth lineman, bring him in jumbo packages. If Decker does
No
go
wrong
down,
with
you bring him
that.
in for a game or two. No, especially for a day 3 pick coming out of Canada. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I think his future is swing tackle. But he
You're
could
going to
surprise
try
us
him at
all.
guard, play him at guard. He will
I'm not a
struggle.
fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. Like, don't move him. You're adding more to his plate. Like, we're trying to develop him to be a tackle. Don't start trying to add guard to his repertoire as well. Like, you're just going to feed him way too much, and he's just never going to get anything right. Just specialize him in one spot and see what you've got with him. He could be. I'm just not. So I would still rather take a high pick to do it though. That's just me. But we will see. Lisa's in the building. Hope you are doing well, Lisa. Other things. So where were we? Other rumors that are knocking around at the moment. Raiders. Oh, everyone says they're going to take Ashton Jonty at this point. That feels stupid for a new. All it is Pete Carroll needs a power running back to be able to operate his offense. There are about 20 power running backs in this draft who could start day one who you could do that with. You can't do it with pick 6, especially with that offensive line. I'm buying against the overwhelming sensation they pick a running back. I just don't see it.
See, I would have said they won't do something stupid like take a luxury tight end, but they did. So is Ashton Jeanty really a shock? Probably not. Does he help them now? Yeah. Will he succeed or will he struggle as a rookie? Of course he will. Who's making holes for him? Like I say, Colton Miller. Is he their best offensive lineman? I think he is, isn't he? Yeah. Like I say, we've given like Hampton, we gave him like Caleb Johnson. They don't have to do it with 6, you're right. Ollie Gordon. And Marion Hampton might still be there in the second round. And if he is, it could be criminal. Like, he's the guy for them. Like I say, but to punish a sixth overall running back behind an offensive line, sure, like say, you're going to put a lot of wear and tear on him straight away. You'd be
Yeah.
much better off taking someone like Will Campbell if he falls and then a second round running back.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Raiders have been rinsed in free agency.
And the Raiders, as I've already mentioned, they've got a new GM from the Bucks. Bucks don't build that way. You don't spend luxury picks on running backs. You build through your trenches and you do it that way. That's why I'm convinced.
They've lost Spillane. They've lost Divine Diablo. The
Yeah.
spine of a terrible defense has gone.
Yeah, you've got to start fixing
They
that
need
first where you're at. Of course you do. Of course you do. Yeah, hell, if anything, if you need more picks, trade out, rinse one of these quarterback needy teams if someone
They lost their
falls.
best corner, like
If Shador falls, rinse somebody for that pick and go and get someone else. But I just don't see it being a running back. Ashton Gianti can be as great as he wants to be. People saying generational, which I disagree with, but you put him behind a bad line, ain't no generational quarterback outside of Barry doing work for that. And no one exists like Barry anymore. So it's crazy. Next one has to do with the team just behind them, the Jets. But people saying Tyler Warren is a top 10 pick in this draft, I think is bull. He shouldn't be, but he seems to be almost locked into it at this point. Apparently, even the Bears are interested in him as well there. It's just, I can't believe that he would go there, but it's what the rumors are saying.
I find that odd because I think Cole Kmet's a great tight end.
I do.
That would cast a lot of doubt on his future taking Tyler Warren.
Unless they just don't want to pay him.
Fullback, halfback, tight end, but I don't know. Is Tyler Warren a player Ben Johnson needs to do what he wants to do? I'm not sure. Like I say,
but the Jets seem to be the big mocked ones, and I'm like, Jets have a tight end. Like that doesn't seem the thing that Aaron Glenn would do with his first pick there.
No, it's a tight end does not feel like an Aaron Glenn kind of pick at all. And when you look at their needs, corner, their best corner just came to us. Obviously, like I say, they think they've found their solution at QB. I hope they have. That just like I said, and yeah, Garrett Wilson, like I said, there's a lot of places that could go. Inherently, to me, it's not a bad team, but then you've just lost Devontae Adams. I mean, really, for me, you need to be replacing a weapon. It shouldn't be a tight end.
No. No.
Jets are a very hard team to nail down.
I think they are, yeah. I just don't buy the fact that he's a top 10 prospect. Again, even halfway through last season, how many people were talking about him? 0. And there's a reason why. He just feels like he's been the bandwagon player this year. And Shamar Stewart, for that point, is in top 10 conversation as well. I don't believe that one for a second either. I think that's it. Are there any other things you've heard draft-wise that you look and you turn your nose at a bit and go, I don't know where this is coming from?
Jameer Gibbs has changed his number to 0. Just saw the numbers come up the lines.
Oh, really?
He's going to win. He's winning Offensive Player of the Year if he's wearing zero. That's an elite level move.
Oh. Oh, wow, he has.
Oh, that's going to look so good.
Oh. So very quick news just to go away from this. So yeah, Lions' new offensive numbers are out. Jameer Gibbs is 0.
Jameson Williams is now 1.
He was 9 before, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So JMO's 1. DJ Reed is 4. Terry and
Rick,
Arnold is 6.
Rick Straw's 9. I don't like a
Rakestraw's
corner in
9.
9. That looks weird.
Ronnie Bell is 10. I didn't even know he was on the roster. Tim Patrick's 12. Stewart's 15. Rock Yassin is 23, which I think is his regular number, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Norris is 26. Ray Lopez is 51. Kenny Yeboah is 88. Al Kadeen is 96, which he was last
He was
year.
last year, wasn't he?
And Broderick's 99, which I
Which
think
he
he was when he
wasn't.
got here, but I don't think he was last year.
No.
Potentially?
No,
I
it was
don't know.
Darius Smith last year when he came in. I think he gave me 99.
Oh, no.
Going
Yeah,
back to rumors, though, I keep seeing people online saying James Pierce Jr. All the Tennessee fans said, all I see him saying is they've never once had a problem with him. No one's ever said, questioned his character, his grit, being lazy, like say, being disrespectful. That everyone I see that claims to be in the know says he's got no grit, he's lazy, he takes players off. Like you say, he's a bad egg. It feels like he said, she said.
so are you buying? So yeah, let's do this. Let's buy the character concerns. So buy the character concerns first on James
James
Pierce
Pierce
Jr.
Jr. was taken 28 overall by Detroit.
There'll be a
Absolutely
meltdown.
fine with it.
There'll be a meltdown.
There
He
will be
registered
there will be crazy overreactions.
he registered a 0 on Eric's grit index apparently, but
But
for
that's not a real thing.
concerns, I know, but for concerns that are so big, I'm surprised we didn't hear about any of them sooner. Because remember, like when Micah Parsons came into the draft, we knew there were things with Micah Parsons before he came into the draft process, and Gross Matos and all those guys at Penn State. We heard and knew about them well before the draft process. I didn't hear a damn thing about James Pierce Jr., not at all in his time there. And again, we watch a lot of the games, you look at a lot of the reactions, you don't even hear a whisper of this stuff. I think at worst, it's blown out of proportion and it is not as bad as it has been made out to be.
No.
But, and if he was such a bad influence that, because people are saying, like people at Tennessee are saying he was a terrible teammate, he was skipping practices, he was stuff like this. So why is his head coach playing him? Why?
He was disciplined, were he? Like
And I like Josh Hoople. Josh Hoople has been around the scene for a long time. He's a very well tenured college coach. Why is Josh Hoople playing such a, disenfranchised lone wolf, hates his team, doesn't practice? Why is he playing him? Because if anything, this reflects badly on Josh Hoople if he's just been letting this go under the radar and suppressing it almost and playing him every week, right?
yeah, you can't play just because he's productive, but then he's a bad influence. Like I said, let's say if a guy didn't turn up from Monday to Saturday, but you knew on Sunday he'd play well, what message would that send to anyone? You couldn't
Exactly.
play him, could you?
No,
Don't get me wrong, in college football and the NFL, it will happen everywhere, but it's not a good look to teammates.
no, exactly. And again, with Tennessee and how well they've done, and I don't think that he would do that,
No.
and you would find out about it, and there has not been a word said. So I'm with you. I
If the
maybe I'm
Lions take him and I go on X, it will be like he has shot someone's puppy to 50%
yeah,
of the fan base.
yeah, yeah. I would
And the other
defend him.
50%, well, the 20-30% will be absolutely delighted, like we've got our next game wrecker. And
Hmm.
20% like 10% will be saying Brad Holmes don't know what he's doing because they already question him everything he does
Oh,
anyway.
they'll question him no matter what he does. Why did we get 3 edge rushers, not 2 premium ones? We need
And I
3.
guarantee like at least one major outlet will be like, this is an F move. But someone
Yeah.
else will give us an A minus.
So I will do this part though. So if we get him or if it just turns out that all this was false, then people should apologize to him. But if it turns out that all this is true and these character concerns are bad, then I'll turn my magnifying glass on Josh Hoople and that program and say, well, look, something's clearly wrong there. You
We're
should not
winning. It's not like you were playing him to win because you knew
No,
winning isn't.
exactly. So, this is going to go one of two ways. But for me, I'm not going to jump in there. And for me, it's hearsay. I've not seen no evidence of this. And I'm not immediately going to criticize Josh Hoople and say he runs a bad program. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt before any of this naysay stuff. So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't necessarily buy in on it, but I'm not saying it's not true. I just don't buy in on it to the degree that people are saying that this is. What
And
about
bearing in
Mike?
mind, there's been other more concerning concerns about other players
I
that
was
have
about to
been
say
very
Mike
completely
Green. I'm
Green, Hairston. Like I said, we've actually seen people make actual serious claims about him. It doesn't seem to have done anything to them.
See the Mike Green one seemed to be carrying weight now. Let's say now again,
Yeah.
so to proven guilty in that, but there's a lot more chatter about that. And I've seen a lot of other draft analysts out there saying they've heard, and again, this is they've heard, she said, etc. But there seems to be more smoke around this one, and where there's smoke, there's fire. So yeah, I think that the green ones might be a bit more, but again, we don't know, so we'll have to see. Brent DeWitt goes, what team has? Oh, hang on, this is a college question, so we'll go back to that one in a moment. Man Bear Pig's in the building. Hope you are doing well, Man Bear Pig. I think. Are there any other draft rumors you've heard about that you want to quickly mention? Or I think I've gone through a lot of the ones that are pressing right now. Obviously, there's a lot. I've not really heard anything about pre-draft day trades or anything like that yet. I'm not sure we'll see any of those because you do get some most years, but I feel like this year I don't think we'll get any pre-draft day trades.
I don't think anyone's going to agree to deal no before the draft.
No, I think, and sometimes it comes down to I think it's just no
It's
blue
good
chip
in years
tops.
where people kind of just sit and pans out. I just don't see
Mm.
loads of first round trades.
Yeah, and I think with the uncertainty about the QBs at 2 and 3, that could be a domino effect. Because why trade all the way up to 2 if you can maybe trade just up to 4 and get the same guy instead, potentially? So I think it might go crazy on draft night, but beforehand, I don't think I would see anything there. So yeah, that's about everything in terms of our draft busters stuff. Most of the things I've been hearing. Did have the mock draft up here, the latest one. If was there anything that I wanted to mention out of this, the Bears. So in the latest NFL mock draft, they had Travion Henderson going top 10 as the second running back in this draft. I guess that's another one. He's been sort of up there and could potentially be that, but certainly I don't see the Bears taking a running back 2 in the draft. If they're going to go for a running back, you're going to go for Gianti at that point.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably the only guy you're going to take at that pick.
Was there anything else notable in there? Hampton went at 20. So they had three, was it four running backs in the first round. You know what? I don't see two being taken. I think it's two. I don't think there's going to be three.
Two. It's Jonte, and if there is another, it's
And
Hampton.
Hampton,
Someone
yeah.
like the Chargers or the Steelers.
I know the Steelers potentially would be in play for one. The other one they had them go into was Denver. Denver needs one, but
Ah, yeah, because
I
Javante
think
Williams is
I
gone.
think I think Denver needs a receiver first. Like if Tet falls, they go for. Oh, I guess Tet's another one. Like the fall, like he's in the mid-teens at this point now, and no one's got him top 10 anymore.
I don't
That
know
feels
why,
like.
but I think he is going to be one of the losers. The
Would
first.
you buy or sell the idea of him staying in the top 15? I think I'd sell the idea. I don't think he will be in the top 15 anymore. Not for it. He's not done anything wrong, but I think
I
people
don't.
realize they overvalued him to
I
start with,
think
and he's just.
Luther Burden as well. I think as a whole, the receivers, I think that they're sliding.
Yeah,
Despite, but people like Matthew Golden are climbing. I can see Golden being taken before both of them.
he was at 12 to the Cowboys in this, and I
Exactly, yeah. But
think,
go back 3, 4 weeks ago, people
yeah,
did not have that impression, did they?
no,
I think this is one of those where don't read too much into the combine, but yeah, it's all combine and pro day.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think the receiver's gonna be this gonna be an odd draft. I think this is just gonna be an odd draft first and foremost. Well, Matt's in the chat. He goes, I've seen a lot of mocks of him going around 24, 25. I know why he's saying that because he wants to trade up to get him. All right, theoretical question. I know we need a receiver. If Tet did fall to 24,
No,
no, I'm not even going to ask you the question. He's shooting that one down. Brad would get tapped for going up for a wide receiver.
I'd just take Trey Harris at 60.
Okie dokes, that's fine.
I'm pretty sure by now he's going to be there. People just don't want out to do with him. It seems like in the top 40, 45, 50, and I just think that's a mistake.
It is absolutely
If we get Trey Harris
100%.
at 60, I think he will be electric as a rookie.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Matt's good. Matt's saying I'd be surprised if Harris went day 2. Well, you're speaking to the Harris super fan here, so don't. He knows. He knows. He will. I think he will.
Even Tet 28, I wouldn't be happy. Not because I don't like him. I just don't want a receiver at 28.
No.
Just feel
More
like
pressing needs.
it's more pressing needs. Yeah. For me, it's a defensive lineman or it's an offensive lineman.
Yeah, absolutely. Man Bear Pig goes, Ant-Man the Brink were great. Thank you. Appreciate having you in the building, Man Bear Pig. So yeah, if you've any other, we're getting towards the end of this thing now. So if you've got any more draft questions or any other questions you want to ask, then just get them in there. Brent has put one in. I don't know how quickly I can answer this because I think he goes, which team has the potentially best edge duo next year? And he goes, is it the Wolverines? One, I don't know who's starting on the edge for the Wolverines next year, but two, my initial instinct would say Clemson because they've got Will Held in from Purdue, and they had a freshman who was really good last year, didn't they? I can't remember his. Do you remember? I'm just trying to think who the freshman was there last year. I can't remember. We'll have to get back to you on that because right now, off the back of it, I can't think if there are any pairings out there. I mean, for me, next year, it feels like it's all about the receivers and the quarterbacks. There's that many good receivers next year. Ask who's the best quarterback wide receiver pairing next year. Ryan might be a homer on that one, but Tyson and Levitt.
Klubnik and Westcott Jr.
Who is it? TJ Parker. TJ Parker, that's it. He's the Clemson edge. Him and Will Held will be a really good edge duo next year. And that Clemson team should theoretically be very good next year. Should be in the playoffs again for sure, right? Well, deep in the playoffs, I reckon, for sure.
I'd like to think, yeah, it's bringing back a lot of experience.
Yeah, because I mean they've got that great good DT as well. Peter Woods, is it? And then you've got your receivers. You've got Bryant Wesco, Antonio Williams. You've got one of the best quarterbacks one of the better quarterbacks in college football. But I can't think. Oh, we'll have to look. We'll obviously that's something we'll get to next year because we're focusing on this draft right now. But I don't know. The Arizona State pair any good? Because all their starters are coming back.
Not great going to QB.
Yeah.
Florida State, they got the guy I really like from Nebraska. Six guy.
Yes, they do.
He was really good last year.
I'm sick of the big teams. So Ohio State are losing all their edges this year. TAMU are losing all their edges this year. Alabama didn't have a very good edge room last year. Georgia are losing most of their defensive line. A good chunk of it, losing the nose tackle. They're losing
Stackhouse, yeah, he's gone. Yeah.
Stackhouse has gone. They're losing in the outside, like Mikael Williams has gone.
Hambliss gone. Yeah, a lot of their sacks are going.
Yeah, Tennessee, James Pierce has gone. Because there's a lot of edge players coming out this year. It's like a deep edge class. So we will answer that in a future episode, Brett. So sorry I can't answer it now, but yeah. It's Clemson would be my initial answer, and I don't know who the Wolverines are playing, so you'll have to enlighten me on that. So, yeah, I think that is just about everything for now. I've got no more questions in. I'll just go through the next shows and everything. And then if there's anything else asked towards the end, we'll get it in before we go off air. So obviously, shows coming up. Main podcast will be back on Monday. It's the last draft positional review class. It is the quarterbacks, which we usually always do last, and then it'll be on to mock draft season, which is going to be fun, but it's going to be difficult as hell as well. And then me and Ryan will be back next week with the college pod. Not decided what we're doing yet, but it will be about 2 weeks until the draft, and generally we do up till 2 weeks before the draft. So next week will probably be the finale of season 3 of the College Football Podcast before we go on our little hiatus over draft period, and then we'll be back a few weeks after the draft. I'll think of something fun to do for it. Obviously, you can find us all over at Roaring Lions UK. Just type us in online and you will find us. Remember, draft time is coming up. We've got all the shows coming up for that, so hopefully you'll be able to join us for some part over draft weekend. We've got a ton of fun guests and stuff coming on, so it's going to be good. Putting a lot of effort into getting this one done. Carlton Wood goes Montgomery and Gibbs, Honolulu 5-0. Is Monty 5? That's actually quite clever, Carlton. I will give you that. You should actually get that trademarked right now. That is really clever. I wish I'd thought of that myself. So, in fact, I might steal it. Let's try and trademark it before Carlton does. Honolulu 5-0. That has a good ring to it. Brett goes, thanks, lads. Have a great evening. Appreciate you as always, Brett. Thanks for coming in as you always do. Thanks to you as well, Mike. Thank you for joining us all. As I say, there'll be more draft prospect videos coming up. So if you want to learn some more about some of these prospects, then get on board on that. And, if there's anybody you're still unsure of, if there's anyone you'd like me to do a video of, then just hit me up in the comments or something like that. I'll keep watching. I'm doing Elijah Roberts for Brent at the minute. So if there's any prospects you're still a bit unsure on and you want to see the tape of them, I'll happily do that for you. Got plenty of time coming up into the draft process now. We've got 3 weeks to go, so we're going hammer and tongs all this, putting as much effort in as we can. Yeah, but that's just about everything. Anything else, Ryan, you want to mention before we get out of here?
Nope. Preparing, like I said, just thinking already about a first round full mock draft.
Oh, it's going to be fun, isn't it? I love them.
No.
Oh, do you not? Hey, it's going to be easier than the mock draft sim challenge from last week. At least we got half a chance with this one, but I'm going to start mine tonight. I feel like I've got to put a lot of effort into the ones this year, so I'm going to try and do an initial one, see whether I like it, rip it up, and then do a new one. But I don't know. I'll be lucky if I get 4 or 5. I would be delighted if we got 4 or 5. So, yeah, mock draft season coming up very soon. But yeah, thanks ever so much. We appreciate you all. We shall see you soon. One pride.
Recording stopped.
And thank God that's there.